Welcome to our TechSphere podcast, where we do a deep dive into fascinating tech topics. Today,
Yes.
it's all about what is product marketing? How does it work?
A great question.
So we've got this super insightful blog post from AltaHost.
Absolutely.
They really break down the essence of product marketing
Yeah.
and how it goes way beyond just basic marketing.
Yeah, product marketing is about strategically positioning your product.
It's not about shouting your message from the rooftops.
Right.
It's about whispering it into the right ears.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin?
Well, AltaHost emphasizes that the first step is understanding your audience.
Okay, so it's not just about knowing their age, location, or income.
Right. It's about understanding their motivations.
What are their pain points?
What are their aspirations?
So you're saying it's about connecting with your audience on an emotional level?
Exactly. It's about understanding the why behind their actions.
That's a really great example.
And that's why understanding your audience is so crucial.
All right, so we know understanding our audience is key. But how do we actually go about doing that? AltaHost mentions market research as the next step,
Right.
and they break it down into 4 key points.
They start with understanding customer needs.
So it's about getting into the trenches
Yeah.
and really listening to what people are saying.
Exactly. What are their frustrations with existing solutions?
And once you've got all that valuable feedback, AltaHost says the next step is market trend analysis.
Here's where we get to see how technology and consumer behavior are constantly intertwined.
It's about staying ahead of the curve
Exactly.
and understanding how these trends might influence your product development and marketing strategy.
Think of it like surfing.
Yeah,
You want to ride the wave of innovation, not get crushed by it.
that's a really cool example.
And of course, we can't forget about competitor research,
right.
which is AltaHost's third point.
It's like scouting out the other teams in your league. You need to know their strengths, weaknesses, their strategies if you want to come out on top.
You want to know what they're doing well, what they're not doing so well, and where the gaps are.
AltaHost even gives a shout out to their own VPS hosting as a tool for this kind of analysis.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
A robust VPS solution can be a real game changer.
So you're saying it's not just about spying on your competitors.
Right.
It's about learning from them.
Exactly.
You want to see what's working for them, what's not working, and how you can position your product to stand out in the crowd. And all of this leads to the final point. AltaHost makes identify opportunities. This is where all that research comes together, right?
Precisely. You've gathered all this information about your customers, market trends, and competitor strategies. Now it's time to connect the dots.
It's like being a detective,
Yeah.
looking for clues and piecing together the puzzle to uncover those golden opportunities.
Yeah.
And once you've identified those opportunities, the next step is figuring out how to position your product to capitalize on them.
Which brings us to the next big concept in product marketing, positioning strategy.
So this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of how we want our product to be perceived in the minds of our target audience.
Absolutely. It's about differentiating your product in a crowded marketplace.
And AltaHost emphasizes that a strong positioning strategy starts with identifying your product's key strengths
Right.
and how they align with customer needs.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
So it's like crafting a story, weaving a narrative that highlights the benefits of your product in a way that resonates with your audience.
And every good story needs a strong hook,
Okay.
which brings us to the value proposition.
It's like an elevator pitch for your product, short, sweet, and to the point.
Exactly.
What makes this thing worth buying?
It should answer the question,
Yeah.
why should I buy this product, in a way that's both compelling and believable?
They also mentioned that it needs to highlight the key advantages like cost savings, efficiency, or convenience.
And that value needs to be communicated effectively.
Good.
Which brings us to the next crucial element, product messaging.
The Art of Words, AltaHost, breaks down product messaging into 2 main categories: core message and supporting messages.
Think of the core message as the foundation.
Okay.
It's the overarching statement that captures the essence of your product and its value proposition.
It needs to be clear, concise, and emotionally resonant.
Exactly. And it should be consistent across all your marketing channels.
So it's like the North Star of your marketing strategy,
Precisely.
guiding all your messaging and communications.
And then you have the supporting messages,
Okay.
which provide the details, the evidence, and the specifics that back up your core message.
So it's like the supporting cast in your product's marketing movie.
Exactly.
They flesh out the story, adding depth and nuance to the narrative.
They highlight specific features, benefits, technical advantages,
Yeah.
and most importantly, the impact your product will have on the customer's experience.
UltaHost actually gives a great example of this,
Yeah.
using their social network hosting product. They talk about how targeted messaging can showcase the benefits of this product for a very specific audience, businesses looking to launch and scale their own social media platforms.
It's a fantastic example of how tailored messaging can make a product resonate with its ideal audience.
But even the most brilliant messaging won't get you very far without a solid plan to bring it all together.
And that's where the go-to-market strategy comes in, right?
UltaHost really emphasizes how important this is for guiding a successful product launch.
Think of it as the roadmap for your product's journey into the market.
It lays out the steps, the timelines, the key milestones, and the metrics for success.
Exactly.
It covers everything from identifying your target audience and defining your value proposition to choosing your pricing strategy and distribution channels.
It's comprehensive and crucial for ensuring a smooth and successful launch.
But a plan is just a plan, right? You need action to bring it to life.
That's where the marketing and sales tactics come into play.
Right.
Driving awareness, generating demand, and ultimately leading to product adoption.
UltaHost even gives a shout out to Cloudflare servers in this context.
It's a savvy point.
Yeah.
In the digital age, a fast and secure online presence is non-negotiable.
But even with the best go-to-market plan, you need to make sure you're reaching the right people with the right message at the right time.
Absolutely.
And that's where customer segmentation comes in.
UltaHost describes this as dividing a broad market into distinct groups of people who share similar characteristics, needs, or behaviors. It's about creating custom-tailored marketing campaigns.
So instead of sending a generic message to everyone,
Right.
you're creating targeted messages that speak directly to each group's specific pain points and interests.
Exactly.
Let's say you're selling software for small businesses. You might segment your audience based on industry company size or even their level of tech savviness.
That way, you can tailor your message to resonate with each group's unique needs and challenges.
And when you speak directly to people's needs and interests, you're more likely to capture their attention, spark their interest, and ultimately drive sales. It's about making your marketing efforts as efficient and effective as possible.
All right, so we've talked about understanding our audience, doing our market research, nailing our positioning strategy, crafting our message, and creating a solid go-to-market plan. But before we can launch our product into the world, we need to make sure our sales team is ready to roll.
Which brings us to sales enablement.
UltaHost highlights this as a crucial aspect of product marketing.
They define it as equipping your sales team with the tools, resources, and information they need to effectively sell your product.
Things like product knowledge guides, sales scripts, training materials, competitive battle cards, anything that helps them confidently communicate the value of your product and overcome any objections.
It's about empowering your sales team to be the best advocates for your product.
Precisely.
When marketing and sales are aligned, the customer journey is smoother, the sales cycle is shorter, and everyone wins. You want your sales team to be walking encyclopedias of product knowledge. They should be able to answer any question, address any concern, and articulate the value of your product in a way that resonates with potential customers.
So it's about giving them the tools and knowledge they need to close those deals.
Exactly.
And when your sales team is successful, your product is successful.
It's a win-win situation.
All right, so we've laid the groundwork. Our audience research is done, our messaging is sharp, our sales team is prepped, and our go-to-market strategy is in place. We're ready for launch.
The culmination of all our efforts. The moment of truth, the grand unveiling.
The product launch is the big show.
It's a pretty exciting moment, right?
But launching a product isn't just about creating a big splash on day one.
It's about sustaining that momentum.
Exactly.
And ensuring your product continues to thrive in the marketplace.
It's an ongoing process.
Okay, let's dive deeper into what that process looks like after we take a quick break. We'll be right back with more insights from our deep dive into what is product marketing? How does it work? Stay tuned.
All right, see you in a bit. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of product marketing. Before the break, we were talking about the excitement of a product launch and how it's really just the beginning of the journey.
Right, it's like sending your baby out into the world.
Right.
You've nurtured it, prepared it, and now you have to trust that it can stand on its own 2 feet. But you're still there to guide and support it along the way.
That's a great analogy, and UltaHost emphasizes that product marketing doesn't stop at launch. It's an ongoing process of adapting, refining, and evolving to meet the ever-changing demands of the market.
So it's less about a one-time fireworks show and more about a steady, consistent flame.
Exactly. The market is constantly changing, Customer needs are evolving, and your competitors aren't standing still to stay ahead of the game. You need to be constantly monitoring the landscape, gathering feedback, and making adjustments to your strategy.
AltaHost actually uses a really interesting phrase in their blog post. They say that efficient product marketing isn't just about launching a product, it's about continuous effort to adapt to market changes, refine messaging, and meet customer expectations to persistently outperform.
I love that, persistently outperform. It really captures the essence of what it takes to be successful in product marketing. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It makes you think of that famous quote, "The only constant is change." And in the world of tech, that couldn't be more true.
Absolutely. Now, one of the key aspects of staying ahead of the curve is keeping a close eye on your competition, which AltaHost refers to as competitive analysis.
It's like scouting the other teams in your league. You need to know their strengths, their weaknesses, and their strategies if you want to stay ahead of the game.
And AltaHost breaks down competitive analysis into 4 key steps. The first step is identifying your key competitors, both direct and indirect.
So direct competitors are the ones offering very similar products or services, while indirect competitors might offer different solutions but still address the same customer needs.
Precisely. For example, if you're selling a productivity app, your direct competitors might be other task management or project management apps. But your indirect competitors could be anything from a simple to-do list app to a time management course.
Interesting. So it's about looking beyond the obvious and considering all the different ways people are solving the problem you're addressing.
Exactly. And once you've identified your competitors, the next step is to analyze their product features. What are their strengths and weaknesses? What features do they offer that you don't, and vice versa?
It's like comparing spec sheets, right? You're looking for those points of differentiation, those areas where your product excels or falls short.
Precisely. And then you need to evaluate their marketing strategies. How are they positioning their product? What messaging are they using? What channels are they using to reach their target audience?
It's about understanding their approach and seeing what you can learn from it.
Exactly. And finally, you need to assess their market positioning. How are they perceived by customers? What's their brand reputation? What's their unique selling proposition?
It's like figuring out their brand personality, their vibe, their overall image in the market.
Exactly. And once you've gathered all this intel on your competitors, you can start to identify opportunities for differentiation areas where you can position your product to stand out from the crowd and appeal to your target audience.
So it's not just about copying what your competitors are doing. It's about finding your own unique angle, your own special sauce, your own way of connecting with customers.
Exactly. And remember, this competitive analysis isn't a one-time task. It's an ongoing process of monitoring the market, keeping tabs on your rivals, and adjusting your strategies as needed.
It's like a game of chess. You need to anticipate your opponent's moves and be ready to counter them. Or even better, stay a few steps ahead.
Exactly. Now, while competitive analysis is crucial, it's important to remember that product marketing is ultimately about serving your customers.
Meeting their needs, solving their problems, and providing value that goes above and beyond their expectations. It all comes back to the customer, right?
Absolutely. And that brings us back to the importance of understanding your target audience, conducting thorough market research, and crafting a compelling value proposition.
It's like building a house. You need a solid foundation to support everything else.
And just like a house needs regular maintenance and upkeep, your product marketing efforts need to be constantly evaluated and adjusted to ensure continued success. It's a dynamic process, a continuous loop of learning, adapting, and evolving.
AltaHost mentions how their dedicated hosting servers offer the power, scalability, and security that businesses need to support high-demand products and platforms. It seems like they are subtly showcasing their own product within the context of this broader discussion about product marketing.
It's a clever tactic. By weaving their own product into the narrative, they're demonstrating the principles of targeted messaging and value proposition in a very subtle and effective way.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk.
Exactly. And it serves as a reminder that product marketing is everywhere. It's not just something that happens behind closed doors in corporate boardrooms.
It's all around us, influencing the products we buy, the services we use, and the way we interact with the world. And once you start to recognize it, you can't unsee it.
It's like having a superpower, being able to decode the messages and strategies behind the products and services we encounter every day.
So how do we as consumers become more aware of these product marketing strategies and use that knowledge to our advantage?
It's all about asking the right questions. Next time you're considering buying a product or using a service, take a moment to think about the product marketing strategy behind it.
Ask yourself, who is the target audience for this product? What problem does it solve? What's the core message they're trying to convey?
And most importantly, does this product truly resonate with me and my needs?
So it's about being a conscious consumer, a discerning buyer, not just blindly accepting the marketing messages we're bombarded with, but really thinking critically about what's being offered and whether it aligns with our values and needs.
Exactly. It's about taking control of our purchasing decisions and becoming more informed consumers.
And who knows, maybe understanding these principles will even inspire some of our listeners to create their own products someday.
That would be fantastic. Imagine all the amazing, innovative products that are just waiting to be brought to life.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating world of product marketing. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the ins and outs of product marketing.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding your target audience and conducting thorough market research to crafting a compelling value proposition and developing a go-to-market strategy.
We even delved into the art of product messaging, the importance of sales enablement, and the excitement, but also the ongoing work of a product launch.
But before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something we briefly mentioned earlier, customer segmentation.
Right. We talk about how it's all about dividing a broad market into distinct groups of people who share similar characteristics, needs, or behaviors.
And UltaHost provides some really interesting examples of how to do this effectively. They highlight demographics like age, gender, income, and location as key factors to consider.
But they also emphasize the importance of psychographics,
Right.
which dive deeper into people's interests, values, and lifestyles. It's about understanding not just who your customers are, but what motivates them, what makes them tick.
Exactly. And then there's behavioral segmentation, which looks at past purchase history and online activity.
Oh, interesting.
This data can be incredibly valuable for understanding how people interact with your brand and your products.
So it's about using all these different data points to create a rich and nuanced picture of your target audience.
And once you have that clear understanding, you can start to tailor your marketing messages and campaigns to resonate with each specific group.
It's like speaking their language, connecting with them on a personal level, and showing them that you truly understand their needs and desires.
And that's what effective product marketing is all about, building those genuine connections that lead to long-lasting customer relationships.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into product marketing, I will leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
As a consumer, how often do you stop to consider the strategy behind the products you buy?
It's a good question.
Understanding product marketing can make you a more informed consumer. And who knows, it might even spark an idea for your own product someday.
That's a great point. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into product marketing.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. And until next time, keep those marketing minds engaged.